Tim Bradley, Desert Storm weighs in on the Devin Haney versus Rolly. Why the talks have stalled.
I think it's real interesting that Haney pulled out of that Rolly fight.
Pulled out of the Rolly. Oh my God, bro. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. You dig. Now, Tim Bradley, link in the description on his YouTube channel. He weighed in and gave his complete thoughts on what happened with the Devin Haney fight versus fellow champion Rolando Rolly Romero. Unification. At one point, it was sounding like both parties were interested and it might be a green light. But me knowing boxing, I understand the game and I understand it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over. Hey, yo, what do you mean, Tommy? You want to fight? Devin Haney, he doesn't know how to use the three seashells. Right? Devin Haney doesn't know how to use the three seashells. So, as a result, I kept my content consistent, and here we are. So, first, I want y'all to hear from Tim Bradley, and then I'll come back to chime in with my thoughts. You break my record, now I break you like I break your friend. What movie is that from?
I think it's real interesting that Haney pulled out of that Rolly fight, and it's interesting in a sense because, Turkey Al Sheik ain't involved in that. I've been seeing some back and forth. I don't know what the messages said. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know Turkey replied or rebuttal to, I guess, to Devin Haney. But I was like, and I'm seeing, Blue Blood Report, 1.5 split, this pot and all. This shit, I don't know. All I can say is this. When you're part of the promotion, okay, because that's what Haney was going to be, a part of the promotion. He got Haney Promotions. You have to take risks. Okay, you being the fighter and the promoter. Rolly was willing to take risks too, and willing to bet on himself. What does that mean, Tim? Bet on himself. Well, he was gonna take a small little lump sum up front, and he believed that the pay-per-view and the venue would sell. That's what he believed. It will sell. Haney and them don't believe it's gonna sell. They don't. They want they guaranteed money. When you negotiate a contract, you usually put a limited amount of money that you're guaranteed. All right, I'm guaranteed $6 million no matter what. No matter what happens.
Haney and them didn't believe the fight would sell. They wanted that guaranteed money, says Desert Storm Tim Bradley. A pro boxer and analyst commentator who has actually been on pay-per-view with Juan Manuel Marquez and 3 fights with Manny Pacquiao. I believe he's going to bite me. I used to sell donuts and cigarettes, but I do right.
$6 million. A limited amount of money that you're guaranteed. Contract, you usually put a limited amount of money that you're guaranteed. All right, I'm guaranteed $6 million no matter what. No matter what happens, $6 million. And that's all you get. That's all you get. Yeah, $6 million guaranteed. That's all you get. The Haneys are looking for something like that. They not looking to, hope and think, and they just want their money up front. I want $7 million guaranteed no matter what.
I want $7 million or whatever the number is guaranteed no matter what.
Or whatever the number is, okay? And They're saying, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. So he's saying, well, look, the same thing happened with Crawford, right? Crawford, when he was getting ready to fight Spence, Crawford was looking for a guaranteed. And Heyman was like, hey, you can make more money this way. If the fight sells, if you're as big as you say you are, you can make more money this way. You don't need a guarantee. You take this lump sum up front, you get money on the back end with the ticket sales and the pay-per-view revenue that comes in. And you have an opportunity to generate a shitload of money and get your percentage for it. So Crawford took that risk and they made out. I heard it was like right 25 million a piece, somewhere like that, between him and Earl Spence. Now they're asking, since hey, Haney is the big time and Haney is this and Haney is that and Haney sells and all this stuff. Well, hey, you know what? Show us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Show us exactly what Boxingego said. Okay.
That's all I'm gonna tell you. Show us. Because it's so crazy how everybody's ridiculing and going crazy with Virgil Ortiz and his manager.
Now, you guys can watch that clip yourself. That's the bulk of what I want to cover. The link will be in the description. Bradley says, show us. If you are a big star, show us. Doesn't that sound like something that Boxingego said? Now, again, I told y'all it was going to get ugly. 2026. We coming. Death Row East. Believe in that. Y'all listening to whatever Haney content creator that are trying to do spin jobs on it. First, when Tank fought Rolly was a bum. Then when Devin's name was circulating with Rolly, it was all of a sudden a good fight. Then when the fight falls apart over money, the same Haney content creators and fans that said Devin will fight anyone, he don't care about money, all he cares about is legacy. Now we're finding there's more than BCI. If you're about legacy, like Bradley's saying, like Boxingego been telling you, take the risk. Right? You take the risk and bet on yourself. And what's the point of Devin Haney Promotions if it does nothing? Like, what is it there for? You're not a real promotional company. It's a shell company. You have the name and T-shirts. What does DHP do if it don't want to put no risk and put no coin into the situation to prevent these things from happening? Like the collapse of a fight.
We'll do what suits us. If you don't pledge your loyalty to us, if we don't have an obligation to lose money on your fights, we're not going to be queuing up to do so. Do I want to lose $1 million on Devin Haney against Sandor Martin? No, thank you very much. I will do if I have a contractual obligation and you've pledged your loyalty towards me. Devin Haney also has Devin Haney Promotions, who, it's all very nice having your logo on a backdrop, but are you prepared to stick your money and your balls on the line? The answer, as we saw, was no. So, nothing personal. I mean, I like Devin and I'll try.
So that was Eddie Hearn telling you what I'm telling you now. It's nice having your name and imprint on a logo, but you're not willing to put your balls out there, pause. You're not willing to put no money on the line to ensure that the fight gets done. You don't want to risk anything. So you have Haniacs and the Haniac content creators. They're pushing the narrative, oh, it's Rolly's fight. It's his fault. He didn't want to fight. Al Heyman, everybody else's fault except for the Haneys, right? But again, you got DHP. Shouldn't that be the Hail Mary? Like, okay, my company, right, will put some money up to make sure this Rolly fight happens because the welterweight division is pretty trash. So if it ain't Rolly and it ain't Ryan Garcia, who do you fight, right? And here we are. So it's funny to see. And the Haneyacks, they're trying to spin it where Devin Haney is somehow the hero for not fighting. You know what I mean? And his moniker used to be, they say everything but let's fight. Isn't that exactly what he's doing right now? Saying everything but let's fight. He's talking about, oh, the money, and we wanted a guarantee, and they didn't want to have a guarantee. I thought you wanted to fight, bro. I thought you wanted to fight. You know what I mean? So for me, it don't really look good. And the Haneyacks, they're gonna try to spin it. Devin has bigger fights. He could fight Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. Where did you get that? Where did the Haneyacks come up with this stuff? Pacquiao is supposed to fight Ruslan Provodnikov, and then he's supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather's in breach of contract. How would Pacquiao be in any type of serious negotiations when he's contractually obligated to at least Ruslan Provodnikov, and in the middle of Maypac 2, which still might happen? Where does Devin fit into that? And again, this is the Haneyacks' failed attempt to make it look like Devin Haney is this colossal star, but colossal stars don't typically go through this, right? You don't go through, it's not that hard for you to line something up, right? Because you're sought after, you're desired. It's like an A-list actor and he's struggling on the couch to get a film role. It's not how that works. If you're Denzel, right? Denzel did an interview. He said he don't audition for no roles. He's like, yeah, okay. I didn't know you like to get wet though. Sherm, Dust, PCP, Primo. That's $25,000 alpaca, right? You're Denzel. You don't got to audition. I am not gonna bury my son. He was like, I ain't did an audition in 40, 50 years. I'm Zell. What y'all talking about? Oh, you didn't get any hot of mild sauce with your order. He's telling me, huh? Right? You Denzel. So again, A-listers don't really go through this, but this is another failed attempt. The Haneyacks, they act like, the militia is strong, but then if it's so strong, Devin shouldn't really have these problems in landing a fight at all. So Tim Bradley was cooking. Eddie Hearn already told you, DHP, put up some of your money to make sure these fights happen. Who do you want to fight? You're waiting on Daddy Turkey payday, and they're at war right now. There's drone and missile attacks, he just told you. And then he announced his second quarter, second half of the year plan, and he did not mention Devin Haney's name. And why didn't he put up money for the Rolly fight if he really thought it was a banger? So many questions the Haneyacks must answer.